Hello everyone, today we're going to be jumping back into Historic Brawl to proliferate with Tekuthal Inquiry Dominus. Now as a 4-mana 3/5 flyer, this is a fairly good body, and we also are going to be proliferating twice each time we proliferate, which is a super strong effect for this deck. Now we can additionally pay 1 and 2 Phyrexian blue mana to remove 3 counters from among artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers we control to put an indestructible counter on Tekuthal, which is going to be even better, keeping him on the board through board wipes and targeted removal that is non-exile based. Now, to talk a little bit about some of the cards we have in the deck, we have a lot of cards that synergize well with Proliferate. We've got Astral Cornucopia, which is going to be adding more and more damage over the course of the game, as well as Hangerback Walker, which is going to keep on getting those +1/+1 counters and eventually become an insane threat with all those Thopters, or just with its large power. We additionally have a whole bunch of cards that are just going to proliferate for us, things like Experimental Augury and Contentious Plan. Flux Channeler as well, giving us more and more value on our proliferate triggers. And then we are running a whole bunch of Planeswalkers. Each of these is going to get better and better with all of our proliferation, everything from Narset up to Ugin. It's going to be pretty great for us. Now, another fun synergy in this deck, we do run Trophy Mage, and you might be asking, what are those mana value 3 artifacts that we are looking for with the Trophy Mage? Well, we do have Staff of Completion. This is going to give us extra proliferation triggers for 3 life, and also gives us a bunch of utility that way, but also Ichor Moon Gauntlet, which is going to be absolutely amazing in this deck. It's going to allow us to put an extra counter on one of our permanents whenever we cast a non-creature spell, and it's going to give all of our planeswalkers the ability to pay 0 to proliferate, which will be proliferate twice, or have a -12 ability to take an extra turn, which is absolutely game-ending. Now, there is one other little funny combo that we have in this deck. I don't know if you've noticed, but we are running Helm of the Host. Now, you might say, what extra value do you get out of Helm of the Host? Well, not too much, but we do also have this little card over here. Luxior is going to be able to be equipped to a Planeswalker for 1 mana, and when we pair Luxior with Helm of the Host, we can actually create non-legendary Planeswalkers at the beginning of combat on each of our turns, which is going to be really funny if we can actually go ahead and hit that, and very strong. We have a whole bunch of different counterspells in this deck, as well as some mana rocks to ramp us, all of which is going to be very good. And then our mana base is fairly simple. Lots of the utility blue lands. We have Scrying with the castle. We can get a non-land card off the tower here, Hall of Storm Giants, so we can have a creature. Cycle the Sandbar. We also have Otawara, which is a great spell for bouncing a pesky permanent that our opponent controls, gets around indestructible and things like that. Then we have some utility lands, Blast Zone to clear the board, Crawling Barrens for another blocker, and Demolition Field and Field of Ruin to get rid of lands that we don't want our opponents having, Karn's Bastion for more proliferation, and Mirex. If we have our board empty, we can start making mites and slow and steady work up to that lethal damage. Now, if you guys have been enjoying my videos so far, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay up to date on my latest content, and if you enjoy this video, make sure you give it a like. Now, let's go ahead and see how this deck does. Alright, and here we are playing into a whole bunch of horses. Now, this is an okay starting hand, but we actually don't have any value off all of our proliferating, so let's go ahead and take a mulligan, prologue to Phyresis. That's much better. We're going to go ahead and keep this. Now, with the prologue and all of our proliferating, we're going to be in a much better spot. I also like having Mesmerizing Dose into the Shadowfax. Alright, let's go ahead and pass the turn. End of our opponent's turn, we're going to go for the prologue. Alright, prologue it is. Looking good. Now we do have Jace the Mirror Mage here. Now, do we want to just play out the one Jace? I think we do. No need for the mirrored Jace. Let's get him out on the battlefield, and we'll +1 to scry.
Where's the next puzzle?
I don't think we need commence the endgame here, so we'll just go for drawing that land next turn. Things are looking good. We still got a little bit to go before I'm concerned about the threats our opponent poses on the board. Mana Geode. This is fine. Alright, now I think here we do go for Tekuthal. Get him out on the battlefield. Mana Tithe would be annoying. Swords would also be annoying. But we'll see. At the very least, he resolves. Let's go ahead and plus Jace again. Interesting. I don't think we need that. Cold Steel Heart is probably going to be good for us slowly getting up a little bit ahead of the curve with ramp. I'm liking this so far. Now, opponent can go for Shadowfax. I'm okay with our opponent playing out Shadowfax here. Since his ability is an attack trigger, Mesmerizing Dose is going to be really strong for us. Let's see our opponent tap out, play Shadowfax here. We are also tapped out and don't have Pact mana up, so they would be safe to do that. They could also go for something else as well. We'll see. I think next turn the plan is Mesmerizing Dose if they play Shadowfax and then Cold Steel Heart. Alright, Ossification instead. They'll pick our commander. That's fine by me. Back in the command zone you go. Looking good. Alright, well, let's play our land. Plus on Jace.
Every problem has a solution.
Some more lands. I don't mind the lands. Lands are fun. Let's go Cold Steel Heart. Gonna pick blue. Now, do I want to use Contentious Plan here? I'm okay with it. Let's go Contentious Plan. Give that second poison counter. Looks good, and we're still holding up Wash Away for Shadowfax now. Okay, sure, and then opponent bolts the Jace. Yeah, no horse for you. Alright, well, good turn. Time to play out our commander once more. Scry some.
Solving mysteries is my specialty.
Actually, don't think we want to draw a land next turn since we'll already have our land drop. If our opponent does have a way to destroy Tekuthal here, we can just use his ability, get that indestructible counter, steal some counters off of Jace. Okay, Shadowfax. Sure. Let's wait for the attacks to determine what we want to do here. Yep, swinging at Jace. Let's see what our opponent's got. Yep. I guess they're thinking. Sarah Paragon. Alright. So I think we just blocked Shadowfax here.
Wasn't part of my plan.
Back to my turn. Let's play out the big Jace.
You've already lost.
Let's scry with the little Jace.
I love learning.
Okay, I do like Helm of the Host. I think that's fun. We're going to see if we can get it. Target player mills 2 cards. That target player is going to be our opponent. Always happy to hit a Ragavan that way. Okay. And now we're going to proliferate all of our planeswalkers. No attacks, end the turn. Shadowfax is going to stay tapped. We're going to want to block the Sarah Paragon here. Now, opponent does have a hasty creature that they can play out of their graveyard. That'll guarantee 2 damage on one of our planeswalkers. Okay. They just picked the land. That's fine by me. Things are looking pretty good for us. We're actually almost in -8 range on Jace as well. You can draw 7 cards. It's good to refuel the hand. But we are gonna want to proliferate a little bit more first. Okay. Yep. Now, let's see. Opponent's thinking about what they want to do here. Their game plan has definitely changed since Shadowfax has been tapped down. This is fine. Okay, yep. Hasty creature, yep. Okay. Double attacking the Jace. Go ahead, block like this. Gonna only stop 3 of that damage.
This one I will remember.
Now let's see. Alright, well, activate this ability. We're gonna grab our counters over here. Indestructible. Alright, Staff of Completion is an excellent draw for us. Let's go ahead and proliferate here. We now have triple indestructible. That's kind of fun. Doesn't make any difference between normal and indestructible, but it is funny. Now, I don't think I want either of those cards. Let's go ahead and plus the Jace, mill our opponent's some. Okay. Mystical Dispute. Now we can go ahead and play out the Hermit here. We can also put those +1/+1 counters on Crawling Barrens and have it become a creature. We have a couple of different options. I think we're gonna pass our turn here, though. No attacks, end the turn. We are pushing closer and closer towards 10 poison counters on our opponent. As of right now, that is our primary win condition. Opponent down with 2 cards in hand. Depending on how expensive the card they cast is, Mystical Dispute might be the out. It is. We'll go ahead and make them pay for that. We'll just tap our opponents down. Looking good. Yep. Go to blockers. We'll just block Sarah Paragon, because it functionally does not matter which one of these we block. Back to my turn. Okay, Hangerback Walker. Let's go Home of the Host. Now let's scry on Jace.
I see how all this connects now.
Pact could be very strong for us. I think the land is going to be more important, though. Let's go ahead and have our opponent mill, draw some. Play out our land. Now, we can just play this out for 1. And we can also play out our Hermit. Yep. Go ahead and end the turn here. Everything's looking pretty good so far. We've got some decent blocks. I can actually pay 3 life to proliferate twice. That could be very strong for us. We do have to be careful of all the double strike on all of our opponent's creatures. Okay, Lauren's gonna hit the staff. At least that would be my guess. No, Lauren hits the helm, that's fine. I'd much rather have the staff. Alright. Well, let's go ahead and block here. Block here. I want to block like this to kill the Ceratops. We'll take 6 off the Ceraparagon. Yep. Looking good. Okay. Let's go ahead and proliferate. 3 life. And we've got it! Alright, and here we are playing into Frodo. I actually like this starting hand for us. Not a whole lot of interaction, but we will be ramping. Gonna start with the tap land, get that out of the way since we have no turn 1 play. Kind of plays out Frodo. Let's go for the Mind Stone here. And the turn. We're in a good spot to play out our commander next turn. We could also go for the Key to the Archive. I do like that. Let's go Key to the Archive. Time Warp, pretty good. In our colors, I think we take the Time Warp. I'm gonna get rid of War of Invention here. And we do have plenty of mana. Looks good. Now, what are the odds of him having a protection spell? Let's find out. We're gonna go and try and grab Frodo. Now, if this does resolve, I think we're gonna be in a really good spot. I'll go ahead and move to combat. Pass, because he has Summoning Sickness, and then we'll replay the Arcane Signet, end of turn. And maybe our opponent removes his own Frodo. I'm unsure here, but we're in a pretty good spot. The only issue we may run into is our hand is very empty right now. So we do definitely want to find some ways to proliferate for our Hangerback Walker. Okay, let's see what our opponent does. My guess is they're gonna... Nope, not even gonna kill the Frodo. Now, notably, Key the Archive can tap for any combination of colors. Okay, and we have a Cornucopia here. We can actually play the Cornucopia on 2. So this is actually going to let us level up our opponent's Frodo, which I think is kind of wild. And we can play the Hangerback Walker on 2. Seems like a pretty good turn. Now we have some payoffs if we start proliferating and drawing those cards. Yeah, that's fine. Opponent exiles their own Frodo to get it back. I would much rather that than have them deal with some of our permanents. We can play out our commander in Time Warp. Card draw and proliferating would be really good for us here. Yep, no blocks. We'll just take this. We might have to use Mind Stone for extra card draw, but we'll see. Not yet. As it stands, we can play out everything we have next turn. Alright, Teferi. I do like Teferi. So let's go start with a Time Warp. Then we'll play out the Teferi. We're gonna be able to start growing our board.
Time or place, I'm ready to win.
Move
Nobody
on
knows
to
the past
our
better than
next
me.
turn. Let's see if we can get a proliferate card here. Alright, looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and minus onto fairy, make another spirit. Now,
Nice
we'll
to
go
see a
ahead
familiar
and give our
face.
opponent a poison counter, draw a card. It's gonna boost everything else for us. Okay, draw a card off the Mind Stone. Alright, there we go. Now let's go ahead and play our land for turn. Play out our commander. Go ahead and proliferate. Draw that card. Yep. Proliferating twice. Find another land. Alright. Now let's go ahead and move to combat. I think I'm just going to swing out like this. If they block with the Nazgul, they block with the Nazgul, that's fine. Now, since this is going to die anyway, we're going to activate this ability. Grab some of those +1/+1 counters before they go away, and give our commander indestructible. Alright, looking good. Now that we have indestructible, we can block their death touch creatures. Okay, replays Frodo. Okay, they exile our commander, that's fine, back into the command zone. We'll be able to replay that next turn. Deeply unfortunate for us, we are going to lose to Fairy here since we can't block this Nazgul. Only this one, which I want to keep my guy alive for. So we'll swing 4/7 next turn. Farewell to Fairy. Now we can play out our commander again next turn. Maybe seek a card with the tower. We've got some options. Okay, get that +1/+1 counter. Play out our commander. Let's go ahead and seek that non-land. Okay, Archmage's Charm is actually a pretty good one to get. I think we'll leave Hangerback Walker back as a blocker. Go ahead and deal that 8 damage. Looking good. Okay, opponent levels up their Frodo. Yep. And deeply unfortunately for us, we're not going to be able to block without using the minus here. So let me go ahead and activate this ability. I'm going to pay with 4 life. Auto pay that blue. I need that to be at 2. Alright. Draw and discard. Okay. Now we're gonna go to blocks. I'm gonna block here. I have to block one of these. Block the bigger one. We're gonna activate this ability to put a +1/+1 counter on our Hangerback Walker. This is about the best we could do in terms of blocks. And fortunately for us, since we do sacrifice our Hangerback Walker, we are going to get those Thopters, which can block the Nazgul. Kind of replays Frodo. Now, as much as I would love to gain control of Frodo... Actually, you know what? I think I will. I'm just going to steal Frodo. We can level Frodo up. And I'll play out a Mirex. No need to attack just yet. We'll end the turn here. Goal's to win the game with Frodo now. Yep, can't do anything about this. Our opponent's top decking. Just like us. We have Mystical Dispute. As it currently stands, we can block for at least 3 turns. Yep, that's fine. Okay. Block like this. Lose our first Thopter. And we've got it, alright. Alright, opponent goes first. This looks like an okay starting hand, but I actually think we are going to take a mulligan here. I'd like to find something just a little bit better. I like this more. We'll go ahead and keep. Now we do have to be careful about the instants and sorceries in our graveyard, just because of what our opponent's commander does. It's a good thing we have Tail's End, which we can use to counter the Saruman. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and pass the turn here. Slow and steady, gonna build up a bigger board. Okay. Okay, also fine. Yep. I was gonna be able to not get blocked by our no creatures. Looking good. Back to my turn. Go ahead and play out the Flux Channeler. This is going to let us proliferate whenever we cast our non-creature spells. Unfortunately for us, we do not have our counters yet, so nothing to proliferate. Sure. Okay. There goes a counterspell off the top. Okay, but we do have the Cornucopia. Let's play this out for 1. Now all of our proliferating is going to start to matter. And in turn, we're holding up Tail's End here. We also have Serum Snare. Depending on what our opponent does. I do want to proliferate before the end of the turn. Okay, Rogue Claws, short. Okay. Let's go ahead and return that to our opponent's hand. And proliferate. Proliferate. There we go. Looking good. Gonna play out Otawara as our land. Now we have an interesting choice. I think I'm gonna hold up the... Do I care about holding up Tail's End? I actually don't think so. Let's play out the Guild Pact Informant. End the turn here. We now have a lot of potential to proliferate. Okay. Now I can't cast Ugin here. I do kind of like Ugin. Hold up Tail's End. Yep. A bunch of counters on our Cornucopia. Okay. Let's go ahead and destroy their Death Touch creature.
Bathe in ghost
And we'll move to combat. I'm going to swing. Just like this. Keep Flux Channeler back. Unfortunate for us, but we do get some more basic lands instead. Back in the command zone you go. Now with all of the proliferating on the Cornucopia, we will have plenty of mana to recast our commander. It's going to be almost as if nothing happened there. Okay. Mothra. Sure. Well, Replicating Ring is going to be cheap. Let's get out our commander first. And then play out the Replicating Ring. And get 2 Proliferate triggers. Alright. I think let's go ahead and draw some cards. Proliferate some more. Yep. Go ahead and get rid of Mothra, because I don't want to deal with that. And we've got it! Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed. As we saw, Tekuthal is a great Super Friends commander. We're running tons of Planeswalkers, getting that value off those proliferate effects, which is going to be very strong. Now, not only can we win with our Planeswalkers and playing that value game, but we can also win via poison counters, proliferating very quickly, making it very difficult for our opponents to deal with. We do additionally have the normal suite of counter spells in mono blue, which is very good at defending our deck and keeping everything where it should be. We also have some fun combat tricks that we can do by removing and adding counters to our different permanents, playing around that proliferate as well as Tekuthal's ability. Now, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you have any ideas for another deck that you'd like to see me play, why don't you go ahead and let me know in a comment down below. I'll see you all next time.